Hi there students. I wanted to make a video with some cooking terms. I love cooking and there are all sorts of phrases in cooking, so let's start straight away. The first one is al dente. This comes from Italian. This normally you use to talk about when cooking pasta or rice, but you could also use it for vegetables. It's when you boil something but there's still a little bit of bite left. It's not all mushy and soggy, it's still got some firmness to it. Au gratin or gratinated. This is where you take something and you sprinkle breadcrumbs and cheese or cheese on the top, and then you put it under the grill, and it forms a crust. Au gratin is actually in French with a crust. Then we've got another one, au jus. Okay, this is where you take something and you cook it in its own juices. This is particularly common with steak and other meat, but these are just with the juices from cooking. So you can serve it au jus. So I want my steak au jus with the juices that come from it. Okay, the next word is barding, to bard. This is to take a piece of meat and you put a layer of fat round it and tie it on. And this keeps the meat nice and moist. It stops it drying out and it stops it overcooking. To baste. Okay, when you put something in the oven, it normally drips liquid. And if you catch that liquid in a tray and then you put that liquid back over the thing that you are cooking, this is another way of keeping it moist while you're cooking it. To blanch. Okay, you normally blanch vegetables. Okay, you take the vegetables and you put them in water for a very short time. Yeah, you scald them by putting them in hot water, in boiling water, and then you put them in cold water. And like this, the vegetable keeps its bright colour and its nice, firm texture. The next word is to broil. This is an American phrase. I would say to grill, to put under the grill, but this is what the Americans use. Yeah, so turn the grill on and put it under the grill. That's what the Americans call to broil, not to boil. Okay, to braise. This is another way of cooking meat. You take your meat and firstly you put it in a pan and fry the outside at very high heat, just to caramelize the outside a bit. You're not intending to cook the whole thing. And then you normally put it in some sort of pot with liquid and you probably cover it. And then you put that pot in the oven. And this is a good way to cook tough pieces of meat. Okay, brine. Brine is just salt water. You can brine meat, so you take meat and you leave it in salt water before it's cooking. This is a way of preserving it, of also tenderizing it as well. Okay, so let's try the next one. To clarify. Yes, I'd like to clarify the meaning of to clarify. Clarified butter. Yeah, this is where you heat butter and the solids separate from the liquid fat, and then you skim off the solids from the top, to skim, to taste, to take off the top. Okay, to coddle, particularly coddled eggs. This is to cook something in water, yeah, to poach, but at water that's just below boiling point. You don't let it boil. You can actually have a coddler to cook your eggs in. And this lower cooking temperature makes the egg much, much softer. Okay, so what are we going to do next? Okay, confit. Okay, this is particularly common with duck, confit of duck. This is to where you take a meat, or particularly the duck, and you cook it in its own fat, but at a very low temperature. So, for example, confit of duck, you heat your duck fat up to maybe 45 degrees. That's a low temperature, and then put your piece of duck inside it, and cook it like that for quite a long time. Okay, to curdle. I think this will be the last one in this set. To curdle is to separate. Yeah, this is where the protein separates from the liquid. So, for example, particularly with eggs, yeah, if you're unlucky making mayonnaise, it curdles and separates into oil and your egg mixture. This normally happens when you try to cook something with eggs in too fast. The egg separates out into lumpy pieces. Okay, so let's just go through those again in a second. Al dente, something boiled that's slightly hard. Au gratin, under the grill with cheese, with like a crusty top on it. Au jus, served with its own juices from cooking. To bard, to cover a piece of meat in fat, to keep it moist. To baste, to use the liquid that comes off something to put over the top of what you're cooking. To blanch vegetables, to put them in boiling water for a very short period of time, and then put them in cold water. To broil, the American word for to put under the grill. To braise, you sear the outside, you fry the outside, and then put it in a pot with liquid, cover it and put it in the oven. Brine is salt water, and if you put things in brine, herrings in brine for example, it preserves them. To clarify, to heat butter until it melts and to separate out the solids from the liquid. Ghee is clarified butter, the Indian ghee. And then to coddle, to cook something in water, to poach just below the boiling point of water. And then finally, penultimate, to confit, to cook a piece of meat in its own fat but at low temperature, particularly confit of duck. And then finally to curdle, to separate the protein from the milk. So think about making mayonnaise, or the milk has curdled, it's gone off, that you've got solid bits on the top and liquid at the bottom. So, enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Cooking terms.